business now. All right, so now in front of you, you should see a screen that says MSW Online Part-Time Direct Practice with Children and Families. Can someone send me a chat message so that I can confirm that that's what you're seeing on your screen? Anybody is fine. All right, let's see here. Excellent. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I'm so sorry about that. I'm not sure why I had trouble sharing my screen with you, but we are back in business now. So we're going to go ahead and proceed. So just one more time, if you can make sure your audio's on mute and your video feed is turned off, we should have a pretty good ride here for the rest of orientation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This, as I said, is an orientation for online MSW students. I want to make sure you're all in the right place. So if you're in this orientation, you should be a brand newly admitted MSW student. You could be a traditional student, maybe meaning you're coming in with a degree other than a bachelor's degree in social work, or you could be an advanced standing student, because this morning's orientation is for two different cohorts of students, those who are in our traditional program, online program, and those are in our advanced standing online program. All of you on this call today should be focusing on direct practice with children and families. That's your specialization. If you're advanced standing, you will be graduating in August of 2020. And if you're a traditional student, your graduation date will be in August 2021. You'll be taking 16-week courses, and you'll have part-time status throughout the duration of the program. You'll range between 6 and 8 credits each semester, which is part-time for graduate students. And you'll all be part of a cohort, either a traditional cohort or an advanced standing cohort. And what that means basically is that you'll be in classes with the same students through the duration of the program. Most of our online students really like the cohort model because it allows you to start developing relationships and networking with your peers, and really continue those relationships throughout the program, and then even later on after you graduate, many students are still able to keep those connections and leverage them into sometimes even career opportunities. So if this looks strange to you, or you think, you know, this is not what I signed up for, please don't worry. Just send me an email, and if we need to put you in a different program, we can do that. We'll work through it. So, so just let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you are in the right place, and I'm going to proceed with our curriculum this morning. So what you're seeing in front of you now is just a screenshot of the traditional online part-time program. And so this should probably look familiar to most of you who have already met with your advisor. You also may have pulled this up from our website. But basically this just lays out for you the classes that you'll be taking and the order you'll be taking them in for the next 3 years that you're enrolled in graduate school. So hopefully this looks familiar. Many of you I know are already enrolled for the fall semester in 5301 and 5304. If you're not yet enrolled, but you're in communication with your advisor, and your advisor has been working with you either to put you on a wait list for a class, or something like that, please don't worry, because as a cohort student, you are guaranteed a slot in all the classes that you need for the duration of your time in the program. So you should be good to go. I know that some of our classes have filled earlier than we thought, and so we're in the process of adding more classes to make sure that everyone gets a spot. This is the degree plan for our advanced standing cohort students. And so again, you can see your degree plan is laid out for you just like the first one I showed. But this one has you graduating in the summer of 2020, August of 2020. And the first two classes that you'll be taking this fall are our advanced micro practice class and our direct practice with children and families class. So I know that you're online students, but I did want to give you at least an image of what our building and our campus looks like. So we are located on the north end of the UTA campus in the old Arlington High School building, which is a historic building in Arlington that was built around the beginning of the 20th century. If you are an online student and you don't live in the Metroplex, I hope that at some point you'll make a trip up here to visit and pop your head in and introduce yourself in person. Certainly, if you don't make it by the time it's time for you to graduate, I do hope that you'll come and bring your family for graduation so that I can shake your hand as you walk across the stage. But know also that as an online student, there is no requirement for you to ever need to come to the Arlington campus. So that is not a requirement of you as an online student. So I did want to share with you that our dean of the school is Dr. Scott Ryan. Our associate dean is Dr. Deborah Woody. And as I already introduced myself, my name is Dr. Diane Mitchke, and I am the director of our graduate programs here. So the first thing I'd like to tell you to make sure to do is to get connected. Get connected online with our social media platforms. If you go to our UTA School of Social Work website, you will see at the bottom of our front page, we have links so that you can connect with us on a variety of different social media platforms. We post lots of stuff about what's going on at the school. We highlight stories about the work that our students are doing in the community and the research that our faculty are producing. So it's a great way to kind of keep tabs on what's going on with your school. I'd also encourage you to download the UTA mobile app. This is just an app that you can download to your phone to stay connected with kind of what's going on at the larger university. There are videos that are posted, events, but also news articles, kind of research that's coming out of the university that's making national news, those kinds of things. So again, just a good way to kind of keep yourself informed and stay connected with the larger university. I want you to know that you've made a really good choice in selecting to pursue your graduate work here at UTA. We are ranked number 22 in the nation for most affordable MSW programs. So we're really proud of that because we know that you're investing not only your time, but also your money in your graduate school education. And so we're really excited to provide an excellent return on your investment. We also are ranked number 1 in Texas for veteran friendliness. And we were recently ranked number 3 among all MSW programs by graduateprograms.com. And this ranking is specific to our online programs. So you should be really excited that you are actually part of one of the top 3 programs in the country when it comes to online education for social workers. So welcome to graduate school. If it hasn't been made clear already, we're really excited that you're here and that you've chosen to be a Maverick. Graduate school is just such an exciting opportunity for you to really pursue your interests and your passion in an area of social work and really dive so much deeper than you were able to during your undergraduate studies into a particular topic that really interests you. My goal for you is that you learn and grow through this experience, and that you come out as a graduate of our program equipped with the expertise and the skills you need to really make a difference in the lives of children and families, and that we've prepared you to go out and really change the world, because isn't that really what social work is all about, is changing our communities and empowering our clients to do the good work that we are trained to do as social workers. So I'm thrilled to welcome you to graduate school, and I think that you will really appreciate the independence that comes with being a graduate student, and being able to really pursue those things that you're interested in through the papers that you write and through the research that you do as a graduate student. We have a number of student support services that are available to you as graduate students, both here within the school and within the larger university community. Ms. Patrice Green is our coordinator of our Office of Advising and Student Success, and she has created a short 10-minute video that you can watch when it's convenient for you. She goes through all of the different services that we're able to provide you to support you in your academic growth. She also talks about some of the crisis support that we are able to offer you if you experience difficulties while you're in the program outside of school. And so I would encourage you to watch that video at some point before the semester starts. When we finish the call today, I will be sending you a recording of this orientation, and I will also send you this link separately so that you can watch this video and learn about the different things that we have in place to support you as a school. Our Office of Advising and Student Success is made up of 3 MSW providers. Patrice Green, as I said before, is our coordinator. Tiara Thomas and Mauricia Davis are also academic advisors. You've probably connected with at least one of these folks over the past few weeks as you've worked to get enrolled and registered in your classes. If you have a problem or you feel worried about not being registered yet, please reach out to your academic advisor and they will get you set up with the sections and the classes you need for the fall semester. I wanted to briefly talk about how to find your textbooks. What I have here for you is a screenshot of the bookstore's website. So if you go to uta.edu/bookstore, you will pull up this screen once you click on books. And as you can see, if you enter your student ID number, that's the number that starts with 100, you will be able to generate a list of the books that you need for your classes for the fall semester. Once you have that list, you can either purchase them directly from the bookstore, or you can go and look, see the books, and then go online to another website and see if you can find the books for cheaper somewhere else. One thing I would like to mention is that the bookstore does offer a price match guarantee. So if you find your books somewhere else online for a cheaper price, you can share that with the bookstore and they will price match for you. So it's really up to you. I will say that I would encourage you to buy rather than rent your textbooks, because as graduate students, it will be important for you to start building your social work library for when you actually go into practice, and you want to have a social work library that's filled with books that you can refer to as a professional social worker. I will also say that your books will come in handy because other classes that you take down the road will build on things that you've learned in previous classes. And as an example of that, the last class that you take in the program, which we call Integrative Seminar, will require you to go back to your previous textbooks and notes from your other classes to be able to integrate some of the things you learned into your final case study paper as part of that capstone class. So just real important to hold on to your textbooks, at least for the duration of the program. We will be using Blackboard as our classroom management system this fall. And so I know that some of you are probably already familiar with Blackboard because you used it in your undergrad. For those of you who are not as familiar with Blackboard, it's the way that you'll log on and access the materials for your online courses. What I'm showing you here is the main screen to Blackboard, which contains a number of different online tutorials as well as frequently asked questions and tips. So if you have not used Blackboard before or simply need a refresher, I would encourage you to go to this page before the semester starts and spend an hour or so really kind of getting used to some of the tools within Blackboard, making sure you understand at least the basics of how you access your course and participate in your course before your classes start. I think that will really set you up for success. What I'd like to show you then is an image of what a class might look like. So this is actually a class that I taught last spring. And this is you'll see something similar to this when you pull up a class that you're enrolled in. On the left-hand side of your screen, you will see a bunch of different buttons that help you navigate the course. You can see there's a button for your syllabus, so you'll be able to pull up your syllabus from there. In the center panel is an announcements screen, and that's where your professor will typically post announcements, things to remember, you know, if any kind of due dates have changed, those will show up there. So it's important to log in regularly to see if anything has been updated or changed with your course. You'll also see on the left-hand side of your screen a button called Course Materials. And this is really where all of the materials you'll need for your course will live. So let me show you what that looks like. If I drill down to Course Materials, you can see that there are a bunch of folders then that are organized by week. Now, depending on the class you're in, it may be organized by week, it may be organized by module or session, but in general, you should have something that looks similar to this when you open up your course materials. Then within each of these folders, you will find content. So, as an example, within the Module 9, what you'll see is different kinds of content. So if I were to click on readings, I would be able to pull up articles that I would need to read for that particular module, as well as, you know, my textbook reading would show up there, the requirement would show up there. If I clicked on lecture materials, I would see either PowerPoint slides or possibly a video lecture for that week's content. There are web links that would ask me to go and click on different websites to read more information about the topic. There's a discussion link, which will take you to a discussion board where you'll participate in a discussion with your peers about a particular topic that's prompted by your instructor, and then any additional content. This would also be where you would turn in any assignments that were due within a particular week. So if I had a paper due this week, there would be an icon that would that would say assignments, and I could turn in my paper there. So as you can see, it's pretty well organized and pretty easy to navigate. But if you're not familiar yet, I would encourage you just to spend a little bit of time before classes start getting yourself familiar with it. And I will say also that if you log into Blackboard now, you should be able to log in with your NetID and password. You will be able to see that main screen that I was talking about with the video tutorials. You may not see any of your classes listed there yet, and that's simply because we still have about 2 weeks or so before classes start, and your professors are still working on editing their courses and getting them updated so that they're ready to put online. And so you can check back maybe later next week if they don't show up before then. Certainly they should show up on the first day of class. If you log on the first day of class, which is August 22nd, and you don't see your courses listed on Blackboard, you could email your professor. You can get their email address by logging on to MyMav. You'll have their name and email address there. And just shoot them an email and say, you know, I logged onto Blackboard. I'm not seeing our class. Can you let me know what's going on? That sort of thing. But most of you should have your classes show up at least by the first day of class, if not sooner. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to check your student email. Right now, you may have gotten a notification about orientation from me on your personal email address, and that's simply because we have not shifted totally to using your UTA email address until the first day of class. So but once that first day of class starts, you can expect that you will not receive any more UTA related emails on your student account. We will exclusively communicate with you through your UTA email address. So it'll be really important that you know how to check that email address and that you check it daily. I would strongly encourage you to get your email added to your phone so that it just becomes something that becomes a routine for you and you're on top of it. It's the way that we let you know about different important things going on, you know, with the school in terms of deadlines, in terms of scholarship applications, things like that. So it's just a real important piece of the puzzle for you as a graduate student. You'll automatically be enrolled on the MSW listserv so that we'll be able to communicate with all MSW students about important announcements and things like that. So you're automatically enrolled once you become a student. We have a number of library and writing resources that are available to you as well. You know, as a graduate student, you're going to be asked to write a number of papers and do research. And so we have a really excellent library and thousands and thousands of resources that are available to you online. I know the hard part is sometimes figuring out how to find those resources and how to whittle them down into something that you can actually use for papers and research. So one of the tools I want to point out to you is that we have our own social work librarian. Her name is Brooke Troutman, and she is really an excellent resource if you find yourself stuck or you're not sure which database to use to explore a particular research topic. If you email Brooke, she can help you kind of get started and get on the right track with how to find research for your particular topic area. The other thing about the library that I find really useful for new students is they have a number of different tutorials, and two that I think are really vitally important are the plagiarism tutorial and the APA style tutorial. I know that many of you are probably thinking, you know, I know what plagiarism is and I would never copy someone else's work and, you know, take credit for it. But unfortunately, you know, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. And what we see among graduate students often unfortunately, is that when you're not familiar with how to appropriately cite research and give credit to an article that you found, either by paraphrasing that article or by quoting it directly. If you don't cite those things correctly, then unfortunately you can be accused of plagiarism. It gets a little bit complicated, and it's something that even we as professors need refreshers on sometimes. So I would encourage you to take the plagiarism tutorial just to kind of refresh yourself on, what plagiarism really is and how to avoid it. I think that will really set you up for success. The other thing I mentioned is the APA tutorials. There are some tutorials on the library website about using APA style. That's the style guide that we use in all of your writing that you do in social work classes. And so I would encourage you to make sure that if you haven't used APA style before, that you go over and look at that tutorial. Again, a good time to do that would be before classes start. But know that that resource is there for you. And sometimes you might just need a refresher, even if you are familiar with APA style. We have a university writing center that is available to you as an online resource to help you with sentence structure, grammar, making sure that your writing is cohesive and makes sense. And they can really provide support in those kinds of areas. One of the things that I do need to tell you about the University Writing Center, though, is that it's staffed by English graduate students typically, and while they're fantastic, one of the things that they're not able to help you with is writing in APA style, and that's because they're trained to use a different writing style, MLA, which is typically used by English and liberal arts. So, but never fear, because they can help you in other ways. But we do have our own internal resource for you. The writing resource coordinator is Dr. Chris Kilgore, and he is actually full-time on our staff here at the School of Social Work, and he can assist you with really every stage of the writing process. So if you're assigned a project, a writing assignment, and you really are kind of feeling like you don't know how to get started or where to begin, you can get in contact with Chris and set up a meeting with him, either virtually, on the phone. You can do a video conference with him. You can do even an email appointment. And he will kind of help you get started with brainstorming, help you develop an outline for your paper. He can also help you further along if you have a draft that you'd like him to review and identify any problem areas that he sees, or make sure that your writing is making sense and, is logical. He can do that for you as well. One of the other things that Chris does throughout the semester is he will host large group writing workshops where he will do presentations virtually about particular writing assignments. So as an example, you'll take a policy class, and in your policy class, you'll have to write a policy analysis paper. So he will do a targeted presentation that is specific to the policy analysis paper, where he will introduce the assignment, give you some tips, let you know about pitfalls that students have fallen into in the past and how to avoid some of those. So look for those. Those announcements will go out on the MSW listserv at various points during the semester. And if you find that Dr. Kilgore is doing a presentation that is relevant to a paper you're writing in one of your classes, I would strongly encourage you to participate in that presentation. And if you're not able to do that in real time, he does record them and you can watch it when it is convenient for you. So please don't forget to reach out to Dr. Kilgore if you need assistance with writing at any point during the program. I want to briefly talk about licensing for MSWs. I often get questions about licensing from new students, and so I thought I would briefly touch on that and tell you how that kind of works for social workers. So when you graduate from our program, you will graduate with your MSW degree. This will actually set you up to be eligible to sit for the LMSW exam. We've done a little bit of research, and it looks like about 2/3 of employers do require a license. Certainly a license is required for most MSW employment positions. And then beyond that, we have an LCSW license, which is a clinical social work license. And this is for social workers who are diagnosing and treating mental health disorders. And so I want to show you kind of what the difference between these looks like. So as I said, the LMSW is available for you to test for right after you graduate. You can actually apply to take the exam during the final semester of graduate study. You apply, you pay a fee, you share your transcript, and then once you get permission from the board to sit for the exam, you can take the exam at a local testing center, and then you'll be licensed as an LMSW. And many of you may decide to stop there. It depends on the type of career path you choose and whether your employer wants you to, or you want for yourself to pursue an advanced clinical license. It kind of just depends on what you're doing in your job and whether that would be needed. I would say it is not needed for the majority of social workers. As I said before, the LCSW is the one that requires that allows you to diagnose and treat mental health disorders. It requires you to get an additional 3,000 hours of supervised clinical social work experience, which is about 2 years of full-time employment in a clinical setting. If you pursue the LCSW route, first you'll have to get your LMSW license, and then that's when you can start working toward those additional clinical those clinical social work hours. Those hours will be supervised by an LCSW who will provide supervision for you at least 4 hours each month. So after you finish those 3,000 hours, you would then be eligible to apply for and sit for the LCSW licensing exam. This is something you would want to do if you think that you want to practice independently, hang your own shingle as a provider and be able to bill insurance, that sort of thing. Or if you're interested in working in, acute or outpatient mental health services. I wanted to also share with you some research opportunities that you will have as graduate students here at the school. You will, if you're a traditional student, you'll take a foundation research class as well as an advanced research class. If you are an advanced standing student, you'll take an advanced research class. And these will really prepare you to engage in research within the area of direct practice with children and families. We have a couple of additional opportunities. One is a graduate research assistantship. This is what we call GRA for short. So we have a limited number of positions for MSW students who are interested in engaging in research at a higher level. You would be paired with a School of Social Work faculty member who has a funded research project and help them, assist them with their particular research project for 10 to 20 hours a week. Those are paid positions. We also have the opportunity for you to do a thesis. This would take the place of your final class in the program, integrative seminar. You would do thesis instead, your final 2 semesters. And thesis would allow you to partner with an individual faculty member who shares an area of research interest and design and implement your own research study. We have a small percentage of our students engage in the thesis option, but those that do really are very pleased that they've done that. I've gotten lots of real positive feedback from students who have decided to do the thesis because they really like developing that individual relationship with a faculty member and being able to kind of choose what it is that they want to study at a more in-depth level. So I actually, as an example, have worked with 3 students just this summer who are graduating with their thesis in this August. My area of research is looking at refugee resettlement. So looking at the mental health and health challenges that refugees face in coming to the United States. And so I worked with 2 students this summer who were also interested in refugee and immigrant work. One did her study looking at Syrian refugee families who had come to the United States within the past year. And she did a qualitative study interviewing these families to talk about what barriers and challenges they had faced in the past year in moving to the United States and trying to, support themselves and adjust to life here. I had another student who was interested in the role of religion and how religion is used as a coping mechanism, and particularly looking at immigrants from Afghanistan. And so his study looked at a number of different immigrants who were special immigrant visa holders and asked them questions about how they used religion and specifically the Muslim faith as a tool to help them cope with the challenges and atrocities they had faced before they came to the United States. I also had a student that was interested in food insecurity on college campuses. So she did a study looking at the services that are provided by universities and colleges for college students who don't have enough food to eat. So she talked with school administrators about how they identified the problem of food insecurity on their campus and what services they provided to students who were struggling to get enough to eat. So you can see there are lots of different kinds of opportunities. We have a really large faculty with a lot of practice and research expertise. And so there are tons of different areas that you can study. Any area that you can think of, I know that we can find a faculty member who's willing to pair with you if you want to do a thesis. So please consider that option. If you want to explore a little bit on your own, you can go onto the School of Social Work's website and click on the faculty link, and you will see a list of all of our faculty and their areas of practice and research expertise. So you can kind of see for yourself who's out there and who potentially would be a good fit for you. If you have questions about GRA positions or the thesis, you can contact Dr. Holly Slater in the Office of Research here at our School of Social Work at slater@uta.edu. I know that you're just starting your MSW program, and so it may seem crazy for me to even say this, but I do like to just put a little bug in your ear to consider the possibility of even continuing your education beyond the MSW. We have two possibilities within social work to do that. One is attaining a PhD in social work, and that is for students who are interested in continuing their research and taking research kind of to the next level. We have a PhD program here at UTA. So if that's something you might be interested in, reach out to me and I will connect you with either our director or some of our current students who would be happy to talk to you about what that's like and why they decided to get their PhD. If you're more interested in the clinical side of things and you want to pursue more education after your MSW, a DSW might be a possibility for you. That's what we call a clinical doctorate. So you're gaining additional clinical expertise in a specific targeted area. We don't currently have a DSW program here at UTA, but we are looking at launching one in the next couple of years. So I do expect that we will have one in place by the time it's something that would be a possibility for you. So any questions about that, reach out to me and I will hook you up with some resources and some people to talk to as you move forward. I also wanted to share with you that we have a number of student organizations that are available to you as online students. All of these organizations offer virtual participation and have members who are online as well as face-to-face. Briefly to describe them, the Social Work Council is your advocacy body for the School of Social Work. So I would encourage you to become a member of it simply because it is your voice at both the school level and at the larger university level. You don't have to do anything except for say that you want to be a member. Then you're in. So it's a really good option for you to have your voice heard as a social work student. We have a social work health organization that is looking for student leaders currently. So if you have an interest in health, and the role that social workers can play in either health promotion or disease prevention, as well as, healthcare, acute or outpatient healthcare, then I would encourage you to consider participating in the health organization and even becoming a leader if that's something that you think would be interesting to you. We also have Students for Global Change, which is for students who are interested in international social work. Some of the students in this group are interested in going into the Peace Corps or practicing internationally after they graduate. Other students in the group are interested in international issues at home. So for example, issues that affect refugees and immigrants. Our gerontology organization is really one of our most active organizations. We have a great group of student leaders that actively promote the organization and bring in speakers and have career networking events where you can learn about employment opportunities in the field of gerontology. So I would encourage you, if you have any interest in that area, to get involved there as well. We also have a really strong gerontology faculty. We have about 6 of our core faculty who are highly engaged in research in working with older adults. We actually just had 2 of our newest faculty members win an international award for an app that they invented to assist homebound older adults in finding volunteer opportunities, because some research shows that when older adults are engaged in volunteer opportunities, they tend to be less depressed and have a higher quality of life and even live longer. So that was really exciting. That actually just came out in the news, I think 2 days ago. So we were really excited that they're joining our faculty this fall. Our Phi Alpha Honor Society is our National Social Work Honor Society, and it is based on your GPA. So if you are a traditional student that is new to social work, you will be eligible for membership after this first spring semester, so fall and spring, and then depending on your GPA, you may be invited to join Phi Alpha. You can join at any point in the program after you've accumulated, I think it is 12 hours. And then if you are coming in with a bachelor's degree in social work and you have already become a member of Phi Alpha through your bachelor's degree program, you are able to transfer your membership. So you can reach out to Tiara Thomas, one of our advisors, or Patrice Green, and she can give you information about how to transfer your membership to graduate school. I would encourage you, if you are eligible, to join Phi Alpha simply because it looks really good on your resume. It's a good way to meet other students, and it's also pretty cool because you get special honor cords that you get to wear with your graduation gown when you walk across the stage at graduation. All right, we've reached kind of the final portion of this morning's orientation, and that is our field education program. So I'm going to talk about our field education program and what you can expect. None of you will be starting field until you get some of your classes under your belt. So it's not something you have to worry about this semester, but it is something that you need to start thinking about as you look forward to future semesters. So your field education experience we consider as a signature pedagogical part of the graduate degree in social work. Your field education opportunity gives you the chance to really test out those things you're learning in the classroom in a real life practice setting, and it gives you hands-on experience in working under a social work supervisor to get your feet wet before you go out and practice as a master's level social worker in the field. We have some important people in our field office for you to become familiar with when the time comes. Dr. Smith is our Assistant Dean of Field Education. We have 3 field advisors. So if you're coming in as a traditional student, you will first work with Natalie Mangum. She is our Foundation MSW Field Advisor. And then you will then transition once you go into your advanced field placement to either Amy Lopez or Ronnie Robinette. And for advanced standing students, you'll work initially with either Amy or Ronnie, depending on where you live. So if you live inside the DFW Metroplex, you would be paired with Amy Lopez for your advanced internship. And if you live outside the area, you'll work with Ronnie Robinette. We also have an administrative assistant, Susan Terry, who can answer any kind of practical questions about field. And we also have a general inquiries line where you can call and get your questions answered. These are the core competencies that you're going to be working toward in your field placement and really throughout the duration of your enrollment in the MSW program. These areas are areas that the Council on Social Work Education has identified as critical in developing competence so that you can go out and practice as a master's level social worker in the field. And so no matter where you're getting your MSW, any school in the country that is accredited, all students are working toward these same core competencies. Your MAVS email is so vitally important that I thought I would have another slide that tells you to make sure you have access to your email and to check it often. This is the way not only our program connects with you, but also the Office of field education will communicate with you through your MAVS email. And so if you're not checking it often, you may miss important notifications about deadlines and things like that. One of the things that's real important to be aware of is that as a graduate student, you are required to maintain a 3.0 or better GPA throughout your duration in the program. So that means a B average. And more practically speaking, if you get a C in a particular class, that means it needs to have an A as its counterpart in order to get you back to that 3.0. On the academic side of things, if you fall below a 3.0 for your cumulative GPA during at the end of any given semester, what will happen is that you will be put on academic probation, and you'll have one additional semester to pull your overall GPA up above a 3.0. If you're not able to pull it above a 3.0, then you will automatically be dismissed from the program, and we will have a talk about what your plan for success is in moving forward to get your GPA back up, and you'll do a petition to be readmitted to the program. And so it's just real important that you stay on top of your academics. If you find yourself struggling, as I said, we do have a number of student support services available to you. I mentioned the video that I need you to watch that Patrice Green outlines a number of different resources. But most important, if you find yourself having trouble, please let us know. Reach out to first your instructor, reach out to your advisor. You can reach out to me and let us know that you're having trouble and that you need help so that we can get you back on the right track before it's too late. As far as field goes, you must have a 3.0 or to enter field. So when you apply for your field courses, you need to have a 3.0 to enter both your foundation field placement as well as your advanced field placement. If you're a traditional student, you'll be starting out with foundation field, and you'll be ready to apply for your foundation field placement once you've successfully completed Social Work 5301, 5304, and 5306. And these are part of our foundation curriculum. Because you are a cohort student, your degree plan is laid out such that everything is set up in the right order so that you'll be able to enter field on track with your cohort whenever it's designated on your degree plan. So you don't have to worry about, have I had all the right classes? Because as a cohort student, you can be assured that yes, you've had the right classes to be able to enter field at the right time designated on your plan. Your foundation field hours consist of, you can choose either a split placement or a block placement. Most students choose to do a split placement, and that means that you're taking 2 semesters to do your foundation field placement. You'll be earning a minimum of 480 hours across those 2 semesters in field. In your first semester, you'll have 5681, which comes with a seminar where you'll be able to talk about what's going on in your field placement and kind of process that through with an instructor and your peers. In your second semester, you'll take 5281, where you will not have the seminar. It'll just be your field placement. You'll do 240 hours in each of those 2 semesters if you do a split placement. If you choose to do a block placement as part of your foundation field, you have to do 480 hours in 1 semester. You'll register for both of those classes in the same semester. I find that most students do not want to do a block simply because it's very time intensive. So 480 hours in 1 semester comes out to about 32 to 36 hours, so almost full time out in the field, which is a whole lot to juggle, especially if you have other things going on in your life. So I found that most students prefer to do a split placement. In terms of then moving on to your advanced placement, now for advanced standing students, you'll start with your advanced field placement. For traditional students, you'll get to this point after you finish your foundation placement. And you'll have finished all of your foundation coursework, or you have advanced standing student status. And you also will have finished your advanced micro practice class, which is 5311, and your direct practice children and families class, which is 5362. And again, know that your degree plan is set up so that you are able to enter field with your cohort without any kind of problems or disruptions as far as that goes. So for your advanced field placements, you will be placed in a placement that directly aligns with the children and families specialty. So you're going to be working specifically with children and their support systems in any kind of setting that addresses the needs of children. So for example, you could be placed in a school setting, you could be placed in working in adoption or foster care. We have a number of placements with Child Protective Services. We also have family crisis intervention, and a number, I mean, if you can imagine, I mean, we've got domestic violence placements, we've got placements at homeless shelters, all different kinds of settings, lots and lots of variety. And you will get to have a say in what your placement is. You'll be able to list your preferences. If you are an online, if you are a student that lives outside of the DFW Metroplex, you'll have an even larger role in identifying your placement. We'll provide you with a list of some of the placements that we have available throughout the state. But you also have the opportunity to identify your own placement. Ronnie Robinette, our field advisor, will kind of assist you as you identify a placement that looks like it would be a good fit for you, and help you get that agency affiliated with us if they're not already. If you live in the DFW Metroplex, then your placement will be set up for you. You'll be matched automatically because we have so many placements here in the area that we really don't have a shortage of placements available to students who live here in the area. Let's see. I did want to mention that hospitals, and it says here that on here, are typically not available to students who specialize in children and family. Unfortunately, the way our program is structured is that hospital placements are reserved for our health students. If you have your heart set on a placement in a hospital, I would reach out to one of the field advisors and kind of talk with them about that and see if that would be a possibility for you, and see if there are any exceptions that could be made. But in general, I would say expect that you will not be placed in a hospital for your placement. Your advanced field hours work the same way as your foundation hours, in the sense that you'll be doing 240 hours each semester to earn a total of 480. But you will not have a seminar associated with your advanced field placement. If you do a block placement for your advanced placement, then you'll take both 5482 and 5483 in one semester, and you'll have 480 hours to accumulate in that one semester. So all of that was a lot of detail, but what I need you to do as a new student is to really start thinking now about how you're going to make field work for you in your life. I know that many of you are probably working either full-time or part-time, and many of you are also juggling family responsibilities and just life responsibilities. We've all got a lot going on, and incorporating field into your life is going to be challenging. I won't kid you and say that it's a breeze, because it's hard to find those extra hours every week to incorporate field. The good news is that you have some time to plan for it. So I would start now by thinking about what it is you can do, how you can rearrange things to make it work so that you can be successful in field. If that means you need to talk to your employer about the potential of offering flex time, if you need to start banking your vacation days to accommodate field, just be creative, think through it. Your advisors can also talk through some of that with you. But know that, we do have some opportunities for you to do night and weekend placements, but almost no field placement will allow you to exclusively do your internship at night and on the weekends. You're probably going to have to show up at least one day or part of a day during a normal work day each week to meet for supervision and to talk with staff and things like that. So I just want you to keep that in mind and start thinking about it now, because I know that it is stressful and it's hard to make those arrangements. There is a planning tool available on the field website where you can actually enter in the things that you have going on in your life and the time that those things take, and it will help you kind of manipulate the different things you've got going on to see if you can find room for field. So I would just encourage you to start thinking now about that process and how you're going to make it work for you in your life. I want to get into the logistics of actually applying for field. Again, you're not going to have to worry about this until a couple of semesters from now, but it's good to just kind of put it in your ear so that it's on your radar. You'll fill out an application using a system called eIntern, and then you'll submit it online. You'll also need to purchase professional liability insurance, and this is simply insurance that will cover you in case you were sued by a client, for example, at your internship. It costs about $30 to $50, and that's good for a whole year. And we do have on our website a list of vendors that sell this insurance. So you'll just choose whichever vendor you want and then purchase the insurance, and you'll submit that certificate that you get once you purchase it to the field office so that they can pair it with your application and you'll be approved. The field office will then match you with an agency that meets your needs. And you will then get an email from the field office with that agency assignment. You'll be told that you need to contact the agency to set up an interview to make sure it's a good fit. And once you do that, if you're accepted, then the agency will go ahead and accept you in that e-intern program, and you will in turn accept them too. If, on the other hand, you're not accepted for whatever reason, maybe the hours don't work with your schedule, maybe you just don't feel like it's a good fit, or the agency doesn't feel like it's a good fit, then the agency will decline you in e-intern, and the field office will work with you to get you set up with a different agency. I want to go over the role of the field liaison. The field liaison is the instructor of record with UTA. This is the person that will kind of serve as a mediator between UTA, the agency you're assigned at, and yourself. They will monitor you throughout your internship to make sure things are going okay and that there aren't any problems. They will also review and sign your timesheet to make sure you're getting the hours that you need. And they will review and sign the learning contract. They will also assign you your final course grade. And like I said, they also kind of are a mediator if there's ever any problems. So if there were a problem in your field placement, your first point of contact would be your field instructor, the person that's working for the agency that's serving as your supervisor. If it's a conflict between you and the field instructor, then your field liaison is going to get involved. And that's the person that's your kind of advocate from the school side of things. After that point, it could escalate to engaging your field advisor. That's the person on staff here in the School of Social Work field office. And then finally, it would escalate to the point of going to the Assistant Dean of Field Education, Dr. Smith. So that's kind of the way that hierarchy works in terms of resolving conflicts. Your roles and responsibilities are to abide by the NASW and the State of Texas Code of Ethics. These should be familiar to you if you're coming in with advanced standing and have a bachelor's degree in social work. If not, all of you should have been informed by your advisor that the Code of Ethics are an important part of your responsibility as students for the duration of your program, and you'll sign something if you haven't already saying you agree to abide by our code. You also agree to accept supervision and feedback because this is a learning process and you're going to learn things and you're going to grow from this experience. Of course, that you'll follow the hierarchy and that you will complete timesheets and supervision logs on time. Your field instructor will be filling out a midterm and a final evaluation, documenting your progress, and you'll remind them to do it on time. And then you will also get the opportunity to evaluate your agency and your field instructor to talk about what worked and what didn't. There is a field calendar located on the field portion of our website, and it actually lists all of the dates and deadlines for when application periods open and when they close. And so it's just a useful tool to kind of keep in mind as you think about getting started with field. Again, this is something to just kind of file back for later use because you will not be enrolling in field until later on in the program, but I did want to kind of just point your attention to it. This is my contact information. You have all received an email from me already, and you probably have also received an email from the MSW program assistant, Ginger Jackson. Either of us are available to you if you have any issues or need to talk about anything. We're here to help you with that. At this point, that ends the formal part of our presentation. I would like to say that if I haven't made it clear already, I am absolutely thrilled that you have chosen UTA to do your graduate studies, and that it is my job as the program director to make sure that you have a good experience here in the program and that you are equipped once you graduate to go out and be a productive and active and world-changing social worker. So I want you to know that my door is always open virtually or physically for you to contact me and let me know, what I can do to support you. If you have concerns, if you have praises, if you just want to talk through something, please reach out to me. If I can't help you, I will get you connected with someone who can. I want you to be successful, and I want to have the opportunity to shake your hand when you walk across that stage and graduate with your MSW. So at this point, I'd like to open things up to questions. So if you will use this chat board to ask me any questions that you have about what I've talked about so far, or in general, what questions have come up for you as you've begun the program. I am happy to answer them now on this call. So if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the chat box. I'm going to give it just a minute or two to see if anybody has questions. Okay, I have a question from Shelby. She says, in my undergraduate for BSW, the field placement allowed flexible hours. Is that the same with the field placements at an MSW level? So yes, Shelby, it depends on the placement, of course, but we do have placements that, allow students to work at various different times of the day. We do have placements that are available on weekends. I think it is just important to recognize that every placement is different, and it will depend on, that particular agency, how willing they are to work with you, at times outside the normal work day. But we do have students that make it work, that are able to, continue working and manage a field placement. I just think it's really important to start thinking about it now, because I know it's a big life change and it will be challenging. Megan says, regarding field, is there a place where we can view examples of past field experiences and placements? So kind of, not really. So that actually, we don't have like a database that we share with students about all of the potential placements. And the reason for that is because they vary so much by semester. It depends on whether the agency actually requests a student for any given semester. And so we don't really have a reliable way of predicting which agencies will request students. What I can say is that we do have a list of placements of agencies that are affiliated with us outside the DFW Metroplex, and that is accessible to you in terms of what if you're trying to find a placement outside of the area. Other than that, I would just suggest reaching out to your advisor. You can set up an appointment with them either on the phone or virtually to kind of talk through what you're looking for, what type of placements we've had in the past, and I'm sure that you can get your questions answered that way. Let's see. If there's help with placements in Palestine, or do I have to find it on my own? I am not sure. That would be a great question, again, for your field advisor. I would just shoot your field advisor an email and ask that question. They can probably answer that really quickly, because I am not real sure if we have identified placements there yet or not. Let's see, is there an employment opportunity in a correctional setting? I would love to work with troubled youth. I think you mean internship, right? So absolutely, we do have internship opportunities in correctional facilities and juvenile detention centers, things like that. Those are definitely possibilities for you. In terms of employment, yes, we do have a lot of social workers that are interested in criminal justice and juvenile issues. And so, yes, I think that is definitely a possibility for you once you graduate as well. I would encourage you to consider reaching out to one of our faculty members. Her name is Dr. Nordberg, Ann Nordberg, and all of her research revolves around juvenile justice. She does a lot of work in prisons and in juvenile detention facilities, and so I'm sure she would love to connect with you and talk about what her experience has been, and see how she can help you in furthering that area of your interest. Let's see. Can we do our field placement through our current employment as long as it's in a different role than we are currently in, and we have an LCSW supervisor who is willing to supervise? Hope, you said that just perfectly. Yes, we do have the opportunity for you to potentially do a placement at your place of employment as long as you're in a different department and under a different supervisor, and as long as it meets the criteria for our learning outcomes for the particular placement. So yes, we do have a process in place to go ahead and approve those. Again, you can reach out to your field advisor as time gets closer and let her know that that's something you're interested in pursuing. Will you make the slide presentation available or email it upon request? Yes, I'll be sending this out to everyone probably early this afternoon. Let's see. Regarding textbooks, are we expected to have all the required texts by the start of classes on 8/22? No, some of your textbooks are not going to be listed on the bookstore's website for one reason or another. I would say that, you know, if you're able to identify the textbooks you need and purchase them by the time classes start, that's awesome. But I think your professors are going to understand if it takes a few days after the first day of class to get your textbooks. So I wouldn't panic about it, but anyway, it'll set you up obviously to not be super stressed out in getting your first assignments done if you're able to get them ahead of time. Samantha says, if I already work in foster care and adoption, will I be able to have my field placement at my current job? Hopefully my previous answer to Hope answered some of that. Potentially, yes, you could. It just depends on if you're able to work out the details with your employer and make some of those requirements fit with your internship. So again, I would reach out to your field advisor and talk specifically about your situation, since each person's situation will be a little bit unique. Angela says she currently works with Harris County. Are there field placement opportunities in Harris County? Yes, we do. I will send you guys the link, the direct link to the listing of agencies that are outside the DFW Metroplex. I know we do have a number of placements available within Harris County. And so I'm not sure if we have placements actually working for the county, but I know we do have a number of placements that are existing within the Houston area. Alexandra says, even though we are concentrating in children and families, is there any way we can take additional classes or possibly double concentrate in mental health? I work in the mental health field now. So unfortunately, no, Alexandra, you're not able to take additional classes as part of this program. This is a cohort program, and so you're limited to the classes that are listed on your degree plan. I will say though, to kind of balance that, you're graduating with your MSW degree, and regardless of what your specialty focus is, when you graduate with that MSW degree, and you get your license, you are licensed to practice in any area of social work. And so you're not limited, or constrained from working in mental health or gerontology, or even, administration for that matter. So I think that's really one of the best things about the MSW degree is that you're not pigeonholed. So for example, let's say you're direct practice children and families like you are, and you are passionate about working for Child Protective Services, for example, and you graduate from the program and then you go work for Child Protective Services for a few years and you decide, I'm burned out. I don't want to do this anymore. This just isn't doing it for me. You can totally switch gears and go into a completely different area of practice, work in a mental health inpatient acute care hospital. And because you have that LMSW, you're equipped to be able to do that and transition from practice area to practice area. What the specialization in direct practice in children and families does for you is it provides you that kind of additional layer of advanced expertise in working with children and families. So Alexandra, in your case, what I would encourage you to do is, as you're assigned different papers and research projects in your classes, I would gear those to looking at the impact of mental health on children and families, for example. So make sure that you kind of address the mental health part of your of children in the different assignments that you you have. And in that way, you can kind of manipulate the research that you're doing and the knowledge that you're gaining in an even more specialized area. So I know that was a long answer, but I hope that kind of helps at least provide some context to the specializations. If you have additional questions for me, please reach out. I'm happy to talk with you either like this or on the phone or by email to any of you who have other questions. I know you will have questions because, you know, it's a lot of new information. Thank you guys so much for your participation this morning. I've enjoyed talking with you. I appreciate you being here. I know that, you know, you had to probably arrange your schedule to make this happen. Once again, I'm just thrilled that you've chosen UTA. I'm proud of our program, and I think that you're going to like it too. So look for an email from me early this afternoon with a link to this recording, as well as some additional links to our student support services and our field placement information, and you should be good to go. All right. Happy studies. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.